which we approved in 2019. So the issue of government saying that we don't have resource is frivolous and should not be accepted. Because we budgeted this activity, we actually approved the appropriation bill 2020 in 2019 to the extent that there's absolutely no reason why people must be defranchised to vote and get the national document. When we know very well that in certain places, and I'd like to say this before you, that I was a witness to an arrest of a Congolese in a town called Mwense, where it was clear a person who answered to a name John Pierre something was being issued an NRC aided by the district commissioner from Mwense district. We pursued this matter right up to the police and into the court, and this person was found guilty, and unfortunately the most they could do is deport him. That tells you a story that this is something that PF have organized systematically. And for me, I can stand for this. I have copies of the documents of this individual, and anyone who wants to test me to prove this is welcome. And this is a matter that went even before the courts of law in Mwense district. So it is clear that PF are up to no good, and the president, Mr. Edgar Lungu, the earlier he realizes that he's putting this country in harm's way by all these tricks that they're doing, the better, not only for him, but for the entire country. He is aware of what is going on. And so this is a clarion call for President Lungu that please stop listening to all these trumpets, the surrogates of PF who are saying all is well, because all is not well. And the ECZ, now speaking as chairman for elections for a political party, we have engaged at several times, several levels, and even up to presidential summits. We all know, it is not a secret, that all the meetings that ECZ have organized to meet stakeholders have been a sham. They have had no results. The ECZ have basically been calling people to justify their claim that they have been consultative. The truth of the matter is that Judge Chulu, this is my address to you. Please come out of this scheme that you are making with PF. And I'm saying this with my eyes wide open, my ears wide open, because we know that your commission is putting this country in harm's way. Finally, again, on behalf of the province, I'm so sorry for my colleagues in Southern Province because I'm speaking with two jackets. There are many, many areas that the mobile registration for NRCs as well as voters' cards have not touched in many wards of Southern Province, too numerous to even name out. And this, for this reason, and sitting as chairman of elections again, we are now approaching January. Our appeal to the president, who we know can do this, is that he must extend this exercise both on NRC issuance as well as voter register issuance up to end of March. Because after that, there will be April, May, June, and July, 4 months to clean up that register. 120 days to sit behind an office to clean up on a computer is not a difficult task. What has been difficult is for people to queue up. Even as we are speaking today on the very final day, there are still many queues. And President Lungu should not look at this as a challenge. He must now summon his conscience to the fore and make a pronouncement to give the Zambian people who he leads an opportunity to make a decision that will determine their future next year on the 12th of August 2021. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nkombo. There are various demands that have been made. I think it was also made by Honorable Sokotwane. We demand that there be an extension. This time, Honorable Nkombo has put a date to it, March. So there is enough time after that to be able to do the registration and finally have that document that we use in the registration booths. So without wasting time again, please allow me to call upon Lusaka province to give us what is exactly happening in Lusaka. Again, we'll give you 4 minutes, sir.
Thank you very much, moderator. Colleagues, I think many of you live here in Lusaka, and I think you are seeing for yourselves. But suffice to say that even in rural Lusaka, there are still queues. People have not registered, many of them. And today, early in the morning, I went to a polling station where I found queues. And ECZ wants to shut those queues tomorrow. One thing that we must remind ourselves, colleagues, is that we are dealing with a system of criminals. I like calling these people by their names. This is a criminal act which they are doing. To disenfranchise Zambians is criminal. And if you check where we are coming from, they had to do this NRC and the voter registration because when butane failed, they had dangerous articles in the butane. This is why the Electoral Commission of Zambia, if you still remember, they had to postpone the registration first of all, before the tabling of butane. Because they knew that the butane was going to go through, and therefore it was going to be smooth sailing, because they were not going to have all this nonsense which they are doing now. After the failing of butane, this is how they have managed to quickly, how can we now not register people? Because the more people they are registered, it is difficult to rig such an election. So they had now to drop the old register, and now starting afresh. Right now, like my colleagues were saying, we are below 50%. And you can see the mind of a criminal. Colleagues, if we are not going to rise as a country, we will crash land before we take off. Zambians, you must understand this. You have suffered under the combined stupid leadership of the PF. Even those, the same people that they are registering, like that in Wakula province and northwestern, which other provinces are these? All of you go to buy from the same shops. So you can pride yourself that you have registered and therefore you are going to retain the PF. The PF are a criminal league. Criminals are criminals. And you, Electoral Commission of Zambia, should not be agents of these criminals. If you are truly independent, your behavior has never been observed like this in the whole lot of Zambia since 1964. Who are you today to come and bring such things that everybody is annoyed with? Mind you, Zambians, mind you, electoral commissions in Africa have caused wars. It is the electoral commissions in Africa which have caused wars. In Central African Republic, it was an electoral commission up to today. The Central African Republic has never seen peace. Electoral Commission of Zambia, don't bring chaos to our country. Don't. Do not bring chaos to our country, which has been an oasis of peace. You have misbehaved. You have misbehaved through and through. And when we start telling you like this, and let me call upon a young man, Shindam. You are a pretty young man. You have got a young family. And all of you in the Electoral Commission of Zambia, you have got families. You also have got grandchildren. I don't think that you would want Zambia to be in flames and then they start running around like we have seen in other countries. We should not pretend that we're a Christian nation. We are dealing with criminals. And they must be dealt with. And I call upon Zambians to put pressure on the Electoral Commission of Zambia. They must come out in the open and tell us why they're behaving like this. Let me remind ourselves, colleagues as Zambians. Yes. I have a pretty young family as well. I have seen how countries have run around trying to hide here and there. Intimidation, no one should be intimidated in this country. And I have always told governments, when you see the police around you with guns, those are not your guns. People must understand that. Those are state guns. Governments come and go. The state remains. And you colleagues who are in the security wings, don't intimidate Zambians. They have an inalienable right to demand what they want in this country. They pay taxes. Yes. They feed you. Yes. You even failed to pay the money that you were told to pay back. Who don't you call them what? Some of them are still ministers. Where they are supposed to be because they got money by false pretenses, they should have been in jail. Yes. Rather than for you to tell them to pay back 50,000, and somebody saying that it is too much money. Don't we know how much they have stolen, these characters? Don't we know that? So, let them allow the Zambians to be free to go and register themselves and choose their leaders freely. My now third call on the international community. Yes. You, the international community, sometimes when you are called to come and observe an election, you come and 10 days before an election and then you say that the election was free and fair. It starts today. Yes. These people are making Zambians not go and vote. Yes. So when you come to our country, don't just say that the elections were free and fair because you never saw people punching each other. That's not the right thing to do. In an election is a process, like my leader said. The process starts now with what they are doing today. I am not going to call even for Lungu to say, speak this. He knows what he is doing. The only person that we can speak to is the Electoral Commission of Zambia, because you are at the citadel of this confusion, and you are not going to be allowed. This is not a threat. It's a fact of history. It is a fact of history. It is a fact of history because some of us who have read history, colleagues, everything, the chaos that is in Africa, in Ivory Coast, if you still remember, when Gbagbo refused to get out of work, it was Electoral Commission. He had to be plucked from the bunkers by French soldiers. Would you want all those things to happen to your country? This is the time now that citizens, on your own as an individual, because you are born with inalienable rights, take it upon yourself. As you now extend, I'm not even begging you, as you extend, you make sure that everybody is registered. You must make sure that you take many kids where you were not taking them. The danger is because the Electoral Commission of Zambia said they wanted 9 million. The danger is they can make that 9 million from Malawi, Mozambique, and Congo DR. This is their behavior. You just look, you just check what they will do. When they extend, they want to reach 9 million, having registered so many foreigners. You are actually putting us in harm's way. One day, you will be elected by a foreigner, those that you are giving NRCs today. Their children will claim Zambian, yet they came from Mozambique. Their children will claim Zambian, yet they came from Malawi. The children will claim Zambian, yet they came from DRC. Because of your behavior as a government PF, you must stop it forthwith. Correct. I thank you. Thank you.
A big hand once again. He has hit the nail on the head. And he has ended it. Yeah. Basically, that is the truth. Yes. We like it or not, this is the truth. Yes. PF must know that the people of Zambia know the truth. Yes. And the earlier the change, better. Better for this country. Allow me, ladies and gentlemen, honorable members, to ask Honorable Bangweta, who is representing Western Province, to add to the statistics, to the statistics that were announced here by Honorable Stube. What happened? I wonder. This is PF sabotage. Which by positive? Yes. Hello. Just come. Just come. Colleagues, you can hear me? No.
The microphone is not working, so you have to shout.
I'll add volume. I'm going to give some reflections on this matter based on the pontification by the PF government that they have a performance management system for senior civil servants, and that senior civil servants sign performance contracts. The reason I'm starting like that is because at the end of the day, we MPs from Western Province are going to make a demand to the competent authorities to transfer or dismiss those senior government officials in the province who are not performing. That's the reason I'm going to do that. The second issue I want to reflect on is the issue of taxation in relation to equity. Every Zambian pays tax whether they are working or not working. And it's that taxation which is used to bring development to the various regions. So based on that principle alone, you cannot take development to one sector or one region. For example, on one tax alone, members of parliament from Western Province pay monthly 95,000 kwacha, meaning per year they pay 1.1 million kwacha. Therefore, this tax goes to central government. So when we hear some officers in the government saying that UPND has even failed to fix the Lusaka-Mong road, we are wondering what sort of ignorance is that. Secondly, if you have a performance management system based on good practice, the targets are based on a particular criteria. So you cannot have, in Luapula, you plan to have 100,000 people covered with national registration cards, but you overachieve by 181,000. It means either the targets were wrong or there's something wrong you have done. By the same measure, if you find that in another area like Western Province, they have even failed to come to half, or they are just barely at half, it means that those civil servants there are not performing. But in our case, in the case of Western Province, it's an interference which has upset us. Because if you remember, the last page of the Minister of Home Affairs, when he came to give the ministerial statement, on page 9, he said that these offices of national registration would be open. Subsequently to that, the Mong office, Sesheke office, and the Kawama office were closed by civil servants, or some of them in Western Province. Meaning that people now were not able to get registration cards. Secondly, we cannot have the same government giving ministerial statement which says all districts have got these offices, because they know very well that there is no district office for registration card in Mitete. There is none in Limulunga. There is none in Keyema. So you cannot come and say all districts have got those offices. And we from those areas, we expected that when they go there, these three places, they would have taken specific and special arrangements to make sure that they bring services to the people, which they neglected to do. So on this basis, the behavior by the senior civil servants in the province to stop and prevent people from getting national registration cards, based on the performance management system, which is their own government arrangement, it means that they have failed. So we demand that the permanent secretary and his team who have been disturbing this arrangement, including officers, they must be transferred from there, because their attitude of closing offices and coming to claim that the offices are open does not show even respect to the people whom they are talking about. Secondly, Western Province is a Cinderella province in the sense that it was back-to-back with Luapula. But I remember when I went to Parliament, there's one MP from Luapula who said that they would not accept civil servants who were not performing, because the civil servants there have been performing. In our case, you have somebody, information has been thrown in the public that we are at 51%, but they go on public media to say we are performing. The end result is that the whole province now is at a receiving end. Western Province has failed to have an expo. Luapula has had an expo, and from the result of the expo, they have managed to bring and attract investment in the area. And so, we have not had the stadium in the Western Province, they invest in the Western Province, even the road, they are still failing to do it. So it means it's the senior government officials who have lost and forgotten about their mandate, and now they come to do politicking. If they want to do politicking, let them join us, because even us before we became politicians, we were bureaucrats. And so that we don't endanger and put the people at a disadvantage. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much. A big hand for Honorable Bangweta, please. Yeah, we are really running out of time. I would like to urge the speakers as I call upon them to be as brief as possible. Please, Northwestern Province Representative, Honorable Chima.
Thank you very much, moderator. First and foremost, have they been to Kasemba? Have they been to Mufumba? Have they been to Mwenirunga? Have they been to Northwest in particular? You see, they are saying all is well in their pockets. They are sharing the little money with the PF. PF alone, they have more money than the country. This country is broke. But today, you go and see PF MPs, those who are in offices. Within 5 years, less than 5 years, they are so rich. They are stinking billions. Look at the houses they have put up. If you're a surrogate of PF, don't speak on behalf of the people of Northwestern. Yes. Northwestern is the key today in terms of GDP. We contribute a lot. But look at what is happening. In Kasempa alone, 20 centers were not covered. I've got the names here. Others, they are going, before time, they rushed to another place. They went to Mushindamo. Mushindamo has got the center 29 of required. This country does not belong to the PF alone. This country belongs to the Zambians. Yeah. We thank President Kaunda, who brought Zambians together. Chiluba, Mwanawasa. But what's wrong with the current leadership? Mufumbwe, they carry the office for analysis, is closed today. Mwenirunga. I can mention the other areas. Tomirunga, in Kakoma area, in F district there is a problem. To have 2 NRCs is an offense. Not long ago, one surrogate was citing a church to have 2 NRCs and wanted the police to go and arrest. Meanwhile, today, they are going to prison to issue double NRCs. Championed by the government. So this government is a criminal leadership. We should say no to issuing double NRCs to prisoners. They have no money to champion development, but they have money to campaign. I'll give you an example myself personally. In Ikele, I'm not allowed to go and even sensitize people. The police have been given instructions, don't allow Muchima. I've tried 3-4 times. At times they have even come to arrest me. Where's the fairness in this country? We need to be fair. These are taxpayers' money. We need to give equal opportunity. When UPND is in power, it will give, to not segregate anybody. There are so many issues. A responsible government, hearing that they are giving NRSs to kids, mobile NRSC is still going on. They should have just assured Zambians that they should investigate. But what we are seeing is they are just putting themselves on defense. In Rapula, in 5 years, they have doubled the population. How many are they producing per person? How many? That cannot be produced in Western. That cannot be produced in Northwestern. That cannot be produced in Lusaka and Copper Belt. We need an auditor. We need this to be audited. We need the census for Rapula province. The truth is, they are registering foreigners. They're saying mobilize people, mobilize. We are being restricted. Meanwhile, Martin Mbaya, the chap who couldn't even make it in the Soresi West, he has come with a lot of money in Ikele. The money, they can't complete the road infrastructure. Kabingapan, the former minister. These are the people trying to connive with PF. We know that they want to rig these elections. After we hit them hard with the butane, they have no choice. Now they are coming in with another formula. We know whatever they are doing. We shall come in Rapura to block those foreigners. We are not begging from this PF. We have a right. Every Zambian has got a right. This is our country. When you are put in management, in government, you need to be fair to every person. But then they are only working for PF. And they want to win these 2021 elections at all cost. Zambians will not allow that. They have got money, they are already campaigning, but they are failing to pay the debts for the country. But they have so much money. PF has got so much money. But they have no money to pay debt. Right now, they are saying mobilization. Where are they getting the money from when the government has no money? They have more money than the government. So Zambians, I have to tell you that in Zambia's West, where Honorable Kucheka is, there are some places where they have not even touched. In Manyinga, some 4 places completely they never touched them on NRCs. In Kabompo, where Honorable Fuma is, some areas were not touched completely. Why? Why should other provinces be so special when even the money for this country, much of it is coming from Northwestern? We are not going to be taken as they are dogs which can be commanded to do anything they want. This country belongs to the Zambians and the right thing should be done. We command that there should be an audit of all this, what is happening. And this voter registration, there are kids who are turning 17 by January, by February. 18 by January, February. Why should you restrict them? Why should ECZ be more powerful than the government itself? Be more powerful than the vice president? Be more powerful than us MPs? Be more powerful than the entire Zambians? They're supposed to carry our weight. They're supposed to function according to our desires, but they are functioning according to the selfishness of PF. This we should condemn with the contempt it deserves. We need this to be extended. Zambians are calling for an extension. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Zambia is for Zambians, and we demand that we get equal share, be it NRCs or voters' cards. because we are entitled to it. It's a right. We are not begging. And we demand that the extension be granted so that all those who have been left out are able to register and get voters' cards. That's a message again from Honorable Chima. A big hand for him. I think we have only one province that is left. That is Central. I'll give Central Province an opportunity also to add meat to the skeleton. Honorable Shaula. We are giving you 4 minutes as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, I stand here to represent Central Province. We must understand that Central Province is divided in 2 parts. We have got the eastern part of Central Province, and the eastern part of Central Province is actually controlled by PF. And we have the western part of Central Province, which is controlled by UPND. And this is Mumbwa, Nangoma, and Itezhi. So I'm going to talk about Mumbwa, Nangoma, and Itezhi. Now, we must understand that when this program started, it was meant to bring out many so that they can get these NRCs. But what happened is that, we were given 30 days in which to do this program. In many places, both Chisamba, sorry I left out Chisamba, Kembe, and all other places that I've left out. The issue here is that, the registration officers did not come on the actual day. They did not start on the first day. They delayed. In certain cases, they came 3 days after the program had started. In other places, it was 4 days. And when they came with a barrage of excuses. One of them, it was fuel. And sometimes you find that, we went there and gave them fuel to say, here's the fuel, which they rejected. They said probably this fuel contained water, which was not true. And then we had to change the tactic. We decided to go to the filling station and pay. And even after paying, they refused to get the fuel from there. Then the other problem that came up was the generators. We also contributed generators to help them do their work. They refused. The other one was the paper. We bought papers, reams of paper, to give them so that they could do their work. They refused. In certain cases, it was just the excuses to say they are not ready because of manpower. Now, what does this mean? It means that the PF government is not ready to do this work. Now, I want to tell the PF government, they must understand that they are putting this nation in flames. And I'm not shy to say that. Even Kamkyongo should know that Shabula is saying, you are putting this nation in flames. Now, they should not think that because of those armed cars, people be scared to come up and fight. Where is Bokassa? Bokassa had the Air Force, he had the police, he has the army, he had the security forces. Where is Bokassa today? Idi Amin, he was the most cruel person who could even eat human flesh. He had the army, he had the police, he has the Air Force. Where is Idi Amin? Muammar Gaddafi, he had the army, he had the police, he had all these powerful weapons. Where is Muammar Gaddafi? Saddam Hussein, where is Saddam Hussein today? There is a place where all these dictators go to, and the place is called the extinction. If they do not want this nation and those leaders to go into extinction, they should do the right thing. What is the right thing? Number one, they must ensure that they go back and do this work up to March. I agree with the March, up to March. Then from there, they should also increase staff. They should also ensure that all these complaints which were there, they are sorted out. If they will not do that, and we come to 2021, 12th August, and they win, UPND will not accept the results. And when we do not accept the results, we shall hold them responsible. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. A big hand again for Okay, finally, all those who have been speaking are current honorable members of Parliament. We would like to spice it a bit. And I would like to take this opportunity to call upon Honorable William Harrington to come and give us a bit of words here and there.
Moderator, distinguished honorable members of Parliament, members of the press, it's an honor and a pleasure for me to be allowed to say a few words, as Moderator said, to spice up. Firstly, I was also one time an honorable member of Parliament for Senanga Central, and I'm very disappointed that my current MP is not here. I expected to find him here to represent the people of Senanga.
Come back as an MP.
Yes. So it's very disappointing. Secondly, I want to say that I am a member of OSIDA, you've heard of it. It's called the organization, our Civic Duty Association, was recently launched, I think less than a year ago, early this year. I'm not the spokesperson for the organization or the association, but I'm on the steering committee. OSIDA stands for the same reasons that for which you are holding this function today. And I want to say competently and confidently that OSIDA stands with you on the issues that you have raised. And we fully support in principle all the demands that you have made today. I think your observations are genuine, the demands you have made are genuine, and they are reasonable and extremely timely, so that no one should blame anybody to say, why didn't you say it that time? It is said now, which is about 8.5 months before the elections. Now, I'm not ashamed to associate with your group. I only heard this last night from my elder sister Mkwai that there's this function here, and I am, just like many other Zambians, a very worried person about what's happening in our country today. I'm sorry to take a bit more time, you gave me 2 minutes, but I'll see you outside about that. Now, in 1991, I think those who come from Southern Province, when I lived there, will recognize the role I played in removing the dictatorship, the one-party state dictatorship of the counter regime. I thought it was a difficult thing to do, but what we see today in Zambia is even worse. We are going through a worse type of dictatorship, and I stand ready to join, to join you all in destroying this ugly head of dictatorship, which seems to be raising its head once again. We thought Counter's dictatorship was bad. This one is worse. And we need to join forces and to ensure that this ugly head of dictatorship is crushed. I'm not afraid to say it. I'm a very frank person. I'm not a firebrand like Mr. Shakarima here, I always got him as a firebrand of the UPND, like many others. But I just want to be as candid as possible. To stay, we as OSIDA, we stand ready to support all your efforts in ensuring that democracy is restored once again in this country. The dictatorship has been derailed. We've seen our constitution attempts to butcher the constitution. I was in the Mungomba again, privileged to serve in the Mungomba Constitution Review Commission, and we know what the people said about certain things. We know exactly the spirit in which they said 2 terms only. We know what we said when people said once you are sworn in twice. We know why it was mentioned. I think even Mr. Sanko has mentioned the spirit under which that clause was brought in. Once you are sworn in twice, we removed Wamuyaya in 1991. Wamuyaya politics was removed in 1991. We don't want it to come back again. The word surrogates was used. Yes, you know, these surrogates, me, sometimes they surprise me. In fact, they irritate me when I listen to them. And I want to advise the president, Mr. President, get a good team of people who can attempt to improve your image, if in fact your image can be improved. Yes, I don't know when it's redeemable. But the type of people who you get are what I call spin doctors, and they're not doing a good job of being spin doctor. You know, a spin doctor is somebody who defends what the president says, even if the president says nonsense, something stupid. The next morning they are there, the first one to try and correct what he said. No, he didn't say like this, he meant like this. This is what you call spin doctors. And they are not doing a good job, Mr. President. They are irritating the Zambian people. Their mouths are vile. When you listen to them, some of them, I don't want to mention names, I'd like to be personal, but the way they talk, and even those people who fall into their programs, who are funded, give a lot of money for talk time, which I can't afford, but they can talk for 10 minutes, supporting somebody who is talking nonsense on radio. So please, try to not listen to these people. So with those few words, yes, we support the demands for extension of the voter registration, and also for the audit which was mentioned. We fully agree that there is need for a full audit on the way NRCs have been issued, and also we want an extension of the voter registration. Don't listen to your surrogates, listen to people who mean well for this country, who are trying to avoid not war, who are trying to violence next year. This is the time to address the issues now. We hope that the president will turn an ear to listen to the voice, the voice of the sensible and well-meaning Zambians. With those very, very few words, thank you very much.
Considering he's taller than me, I wonder what will happen when he calls me outside. A big hand for Honorable Hamilton. We literally have come to the end of our press briefing, but before we close, please allow me to give a takeaway what has been happening. It will be brief. Don't worry, it will not take long. We all are very agreeable that the electoral process that has been undertaken by the PF government can simply be described as chaos. Yes. At best, if it's not chaos only, at best it can be described as organized and planned chaos. This we agree, because we have had instances from districts or provinces who have assented to this acclamation that I'm making here. So that is first and foremost, that it's a scheme, and we know it is a scheme, and PF must stop henceforth. Thereafter, having established that, what do we demand? we demand that ECZ and the Ministry of Home Affairs extend the mobile registration of national registration cards, because there's still time, and there are a lot of people who have not been given the national registration cards. And we all know national registration cards are necessary for or before you get a voter's card. So we demand from Honorable Kampiongo, the ministry, that money be found to again go out and do a mobile registration exercise. 2, we also demand from ECZ that they extend 12th of December, that is tomorrow, when they're supposed to close gates. We demand they extend, because it's absolutely necessary that the extension is done. Otherwise, we are going to defranchise a lot of our Zambian people, and then it will not be a free and fair election. It is a right to participate in the governance of this country, and the first thing that is done is to allow the citizens have voters' cards and elect leaders of their choice. And Kuyawewele, we know that it's Kuyawewele here, and this is why we are seeing what we are seeing. Kicks of the dying horse. The other demand, we have to summarize. The other demand that has been put forward is that from the statistics, it's strange that Rapula, having been given a target of 100,000, is able to get 81,000 more. What type of production is this? So we demand that there be an audit, a census of the figures or the population, specifically for Rapula, because we smell a rat there. Yes, an audit, yes. So I think that in a nutshell is what we are demanding as a conference here. And that sums up today our wishes, our demands, and therefore I would like now to take this opportunity to thank all the speakers that came before us and expressed themselves. I would like to thank you, the audience, for coming to listening. I would like to thank finally Honorable Harrington for spicing up and emphasizing on some of these issues. We do not want fire. So on that note, please, thank you very much. God bless and have a good weekend.